Hey folks, welcome to Wolfpain's Gaming Den. Today we have another unboxing for you guys. We'll be unboxing the game Tidal Blades Heroes of the Rift. It's as you can see, it's quite a bit of a giant box that takes quite a bit of space as you fit it out. This is the deluxe edition that was recently fulfilled with the Packers. The fulfillment was delayed quite a bit. It was originally supposed to be around a little bit around this time last year, so it's been back for quite a while. But we'll hopefully once we dig into it, we'll see if the production quality sort of holds up, and if it is if the backers have been sort of rewarded for the patience for waiting around for this. The game itself is published by Druid City and Skybound Tabletop. So we'll crack into this and we'll see what's inside. I did quickly want to, because just given the sheer size of this, just so that you can get a sense on what the dimensions are, I took out another comparable box, Black Angel, which again is another game that has quite a bit of width going on, just so that I could compare it and show you guys how wide or ultra wide this actually is. And if you put this sort of like side by side, matching up the dimensions, you can see obviously there's a bit of a height gap, not a lot, but it's there. But the difference in width, it's quite significant. I absolutely definitely don't have anything else in my shelf at this moment that has the same width as this one. And it's quite heavy as well, so I think there's quite a bit of components going on in here too. I'll also be unboxing the expansion for this, Cove, which we'll see in this video. It's not here in the screenshot because I just realized I've forgotten to take that out, but we'll see what's inside that as well. So let's go to the table, let's open this one up, and let's see what's inside the box. So here we have both the base game and the expansion pack laid out together. We'll have a look at the expansion pack at the end of this once we've gone through the base game itself. The expansion pack, of course, is Angler's Cove, and it extends the player count by 1, if I'm not mistaken. So you get a new character you can play with, as well as 1, perhaps 2 different location spots that you can go to as well. So we'll have a look at what is in here at the end. So I'm going to put this to the side for now. Coming on to the base game itself, as you can see, there's quite a bit of width on the box itself, which allows you to really appreciate sort of like the artwork that's laid out here as well. There's a good bit of detail going on. There's obviously a lot of blue with the art as well, which kind of makes sense given the fact that they're trying to bring out the water aspect or theme of the game as strongly as they can, I would assume. But it looks quite lovely overall. It looks like a combination of 3D artwork with some brush strokes. Again, not a technical expert on how it would have been done, but just from a layman's perspective, very attractive box cover. Again, this is, as I mentioned earlier, the deluxe edition. I believe that there is a standard retail edition that should be hitting shelves pretty soon as well, but that's more of a standard size box, so keep that in mind. But from a gameplay perspective, you would get you would have different components, but the game would effectively work pretty much the same way. It also says part 1 over here, so they're trying to build a bit of a universe with this game. So if the theme appeals to you, if the setting appeals to you, there likely will be future games in the series in this universe that should be coming up pretty soon as well. The game, of course, is designed by Tim and Ben Eisner with artwork by it says Mr. Cuddington. I'm not sure what his first name is, but that's there. I believe it might be the same team that also did Grim Forest, which is another game that came out by the same publisher, if I'm not mistaken. Looking at the back of the box, again, the same aesthetics follow through, but now you get to see a bit more of the components laid out here. So you have the player boards, the game boards laid out over here, excuse me. The different player boards that come in there as well. There's obviously going to be a lot of dice, as you can see. A lot of upgraded components of this version, including the resource tokens, minis, the discs, and of course the custom dice tray that's in the game as well. So let's open this up and see what's inside. It's definitely going to be a bit of a challenge moving this around, as I've mentioned again, just given the size of the box as well as the weight itself. So move all that to the side, and here we go. So let's take the lid off. and see what's inside. You guys may not be able to tell this, but I'm actually standing up to do this just to make my life easier. Snug fit, but there you go. And again, first up, as you can hopefully see here, there's a artwork with the map of the environment or the universe, whatever you want to call it, inside the lid of the box. Very nice touch. I like it. It's nothing fancy, but again, I definitely always appreciate whenever publishers go that little extra mile, just putting in touches where they didn't really have to, but it just adds to the aesthetics of the product itself. So there we go. So that's there. We'll move this to the side. All right. Games from the publisher. So this tells you the upgraded bits that come in this particular version. So we have the miniatures, the character busts in here. We have the molded energy discs, squishy resources over here. So those are the things that are extras and upgraded in here. Upgrades per se, of course the dice tray is not an upgrade because there's no dice tray in the base version. So that's specific to this one as well. Next up, we have the rulebook. Again, big, broad pages going on, but the rulebook is looks to be square rather than wide, so hopefully makes it a little bit more functionally easy to sort of like go through. List of the components with images, setup, illustration, again numbered just to make your life a little bit easier, hopefully. Game overview, different characters, dices and what they do, and looks like upgrade paths for the different dice as well. Character traits. So there seems to be a bit of text. I'm not sure if that's reflective of the how heavy the game might be, but and I think we're finally getting to the round overview at this point. Taking turns. It's really nice how you almost have like a comic book comic paint, so to speak, to sort of like illustrate some of these. Visually, it's again very, very appealing. It looks pretty good. More of that comic book paints sort of like going on in here. Fight steps, so there's going to be combat as you play the game through. How to fight a monster. Round end of game scoring. All right, so quite a few pages to go through, but again, there was a lot of graphics and artwork in there, so we'll see how complex the game is at the end of the day. From my understanding, it's not the heaviest game, but there definitely does seem to be quite a bit going on based on what we can see here from the rulebook. Next up, we have the almanac. So it looks like we have a bit more description of how two-player mode works, how the solo mode works, the different action spaces. So there's going to be a bit more explanation of different game modes in here, as well as some of the cards and components and location spots. So explanation of all the cards. And again, it's always super helpful having something like this because it just saves you a lot on debating and interpretation of what something might be or may not be, especially if there's a conflict between the rule book and what the card or the location spots say. Advanced play, so once you get a little bit more experience with it, there's additional stuff you can do perhaps. Action spaces. Two-player mode, so it looks like you might have a bit of a few different items to change perhaps or do if you're playing a two-player mode. And then you have the solo mode. There are plots. I don't know what those are, but again, more artwork and visual stuff going on. So generally speaking, there's definitely enough in here for you to sort of sink your teeth into the game and hopefully get value out of it in terms of different game modes, different player counts, and so on. So again, nice reference book, I would almost call it, to have a reference/rule book. All right, so next up, we'll probably start with these. So these are cardboard punch outs. Now we should have upgraded versions of most of these in this box, but we'll still see what these are like. Character standees punch out quite well. So if you're playing the retail, if you have the retail version of the game, I expect that these would substitute as the standees instead of the minis in that version. And then you have the resource tokens. Again, with this one, we have upgraded resource tokens, but you can expect this to be in the base game. I mean, other than that one token, generally they all seem to be punching out quite well. And one more here that's stuck a little bit, but they're punching out cleanly even after it gets stuck for a second or so, which is not really much of an issue. But so far, these have all punched out quite well. So there we have the resources. These are the discs I assume the different players will be using. So that's there. More character standees. I'm not going to start going through all of these, but generally speaking, the thickness is what you might expect for a board of this type. They seem to be punching out well. I haven't had any issues so far on these. So there you go. You have this one. All right. We'll go with this next. So part 1, the art and lore of Tidal Blade's Heroes of the Reef. So this is where you will, I assume we'll get to see sort of like the artwork for the game, as well as some of the lore of the universe building and so on. So again, the map we saw inside the lid of the game box. Notes on the creators. I'm not going to go through each and every single page because obviously it's a book. There's a lot of these, but we'll just get a sense on what kind of artwork we have in here. So, welcome to the world of Fold. Yeah, it's nice. I like it. It's bright. It's colorful. There's a lot of art on it. And again, if you really want to get into the universe, you want to get into the backstory of the characters, I assume, of the world, it is here for you to sort of like sink your teeth into. Really, really nice. And again, just the very fact that a game comes with a book of this type, it's something that you can perhaps even display on your bookshelf very proudly and look good up for the pot. The quality of the book seems pretty decent. It's sturdy. It's proper, hardback. So I like it. We'll move that to the side as well. Now we have the different boards, and again, I like how much care was taken. Seems to have been taken into so far, and I'll talk a little bit about the delivery box as well because I have a couple of comments I want to share on that. But this is, I assume, one of the locations you can go into, and then there's more of them in here. Oh, these are, well, this is not double-sided, but this one seems to be double-sided. Citadel of Time. I don't know what the difference is, but I assume there is something. Solo mode. So this is not cardboard. This is paper, but I mean, this is beautiful. I don't know what finish you want to call this, linen finish or whatever the hell this is, but it just feels so good. This is probably the best piece of paper I've held in a game to date. It reminds me a little bit of the rulebook for Wingspan, but I would probably go as far as to say that this is perhaps even a little bit better. But yeah, so you have, it's like a reference sheet for your solo mode as well as your two-player mode. Another location board, I assume. Chronoseum, single-sided. Oops. Crossca Ring, single-sided. This is single-sided as well. These, I assume, are meant to connect and create a broader champion board, basically. So whatever that is will obviously make a little bit more sense once we know what the rules are, but as of right now, it's a bit of a mystery. All right, now we have the player boards. And these are, again, pre-assembled, if I can call it that. A lot of games would basically give you just the punch-outs that you would punch out from there and then put them together, but these are pre-built, and again, just has a beautiful sense as you sort of like touch it. It almost feels plush. I don't know what's a good way of describing it, but this does not feel like standard cardboard. Like, for example, this one, I mean, it's decent quality, sure, but it feels like a regular board on the top when you touch it. But this one just has a velvety, soft feeling. I don't know how else to explain it, but it's really, really quite nice. The tiles, let's see how well they move. They're tight, so they move easily enough. But again, it's tight and compact enough so that it feels like it's not something that, you know, the tiles will be rotating all over the place by mistake and screwing things up for you or anything of that sort. But and again, it's not your traditional clip-ons that you would get. These just seem a little one step above what you would get in a regular game. If the regular retail version comes with the same cardboard and everything, you will definitely know. Yeah, you can definitely sort of like check it out, and you'll hopefully know what I mean when I say that it feels plush. And then we have 3 more for different characters. So we have K-Man, Echo, Eco, Axel, Dust. We have rulebook, single-sided, but again, it's nice that it's in there. It just hopefully makes your endgame summary a little bit easier to do. This seems to be a nice touch. It's almost like a bit of a foam insert on these 2 sides, just to make sure that the boards don't scratch against it. It seems like there's been a lot of thought that's gone into how this is assembled and put together. It's just the production quality is just A grade on this. Let's have a look at some of the stuff we haven't gone into just yet. So there's a miniature in here. I don't know if you can see it or not. Might be a round marker or perhaps something like that. But a lovely bit of detail going on in here. All right, let's have a look at the cards first before we go on to that section. So a few different kind of cards. You obviously have your small ones, and these look like just cards that have resources on them. So we'll quickly open it up and see what's inside. Now there was a bit of talk on the Kickstarter forums that these should allow for sleeved cards to go on, and the publishers had said that they would. So I'm assuming that, you know, that's probably going to be reflected in the final product. So I'm assuming that these would then fit sleeved cards. But looking at these look like just images of the resources on them, and there's something else at the bottom, different kind of cards. But in terms of, again, the card finish, it's thick, so these will last a while. The texture, I like the texture quite a bit as well. But generally, overall, I'll just say good quality cards based on what I can see so far. So I'm going to put these here. Then we have plot effects, whatever these are. Let's open it up and see what's inside. All right, so this is the back of the cards. You have cards for plot effects. You have cards for stunts. All right. So low on artwork, but functional. Some text going on in here, but aesthetically, I like the looks of these. I like the color. Again, cardstock. Sorry, is definitely seems to be good. Not great. Well, it seems a little different than this one, but perhaps it could be because of the difference in size that this felt a little bit thicker. But it is still good anyway. It's these should last a while, and I like the texture and finish on the cards as well. So definitely better than your average quality cards is what I would say. Then let's have a look at these. Axel story. So these seem to be character specific cards for some of them, but they're As you can see, there's a lot more artwork on these. Game and story, so these are definitely character-specific cards or player-specific cards, if you want to call it that. Dust story. Again, hopefully you can tell, but the artwork, again, artwork and aesthetics on the card, A grade, basically. It's pretty good. I like what I'm seeing so far, hands down. And then, well, this is a challenge card. We don't know if all of these are, but we'll see what we have in here. So we have legendary challenges, regular challenges, I guess, because it just says challenge on it. Starting challenge, so different difficulty level challenge cards going on in here. Yeah, I like the looks of this so far. Again, nice artwork. Iconography looks clean. It's easy to tell from what I can make out so far. Very nice. I like it. So far, I've really liked what I've seen in here in this box. All right. Next up, we'll take this lid, inner lid off, and again, you can see the game craze symbol in here, so tells you who's sort of like responsible for the craze. So these are square shaped cards. Bear with me, guys. So some of the artwork here is repeating, which I did not necessarily get the sense on there. But again, I like this so far. I have no complaints on the cards. In fact, I'll go as far as to say if they play as nice as they look, I am in for a treat. And these are larger, what feels like tarot size cards. And these might be sort of like the baddies or the monsters you get to fight in the game. So this is the giant mud crab, thunder eels, crawling slobfish. I don't know if that's an actual kind of fish or not. Phantom krill, two-headed hydra, massive hoghorn. You get the drill. Lots of monsters. There's lots of these. Yeah, going on in here. Player 8. So there is 4 of these as well, double-sided. So on one side you get to see the actions that you can do, how points will score, and then on the other side how dice gets upgraded over the course of the game. Really like what I've seen so far. So putting that back in, now we have the dice that comes with the game. And some of it, as you can see, has moved around as you might expect in shipping. But let's bring out a set of these. Yeah, these are nice. These are not super big, so they're not the biggest of dice, but they feel nice in your hand. The edges just have slight bit of rounding on them, so it's hopefully going to help with the rolls as well, because it feels like that in a game of this type you're going to be rolling quite a bit. Some of these dice are translucent as well by the look of things, so quickly show these to you. And again, lovely color. Yeah, love the dice. And then with the rest, it gives you a sense. So I'm assuming you start off with one particular set, and then you have different branching paths in which you can upgrade these dice over the course of the game. So there's definitely quite a bit of these. So you're going to be checking dice as I assume a decent part of the game, if the impression I'm getting is right. But I don't mind that. So that's something for you to look forward to, especially if you're into dice, which I am. But again, very, very good quality. And again, the tray's pretty sturdy. I like what I'm seeing so far, I'll be honest. Let's bring out these two next. So we had seen the cardboard wooden tokens. These are obviously the deluxe ones. And these are soft, rubbery, squishy as well. These are good, yeah. I like these. And you can perhaps even mix and match, so you can have like both type on each of the two sides, and that way you can have it on two different sides of the game board for easier access between players. So, yeah. I'll have a quick look at this as well, because why not? So this is more hard plastic. This is not squishy like the other one. But again, I like it. They feel nice. Yeah, the production quality on this is top notch. So standees, if you're using the cardboard standees we had a look at earlier on. Oops. Maybe I'll bring this out first. And here we have the dice tray. Yeah, so as you can see, it's obviously designed to look like a arena where you're fighting, you know, the galleries for the different people. It looks like it's carved at the side of a mountain or a hill, as it were, and on the other side you can see the underside of the tray itself. But again, I wasn't quite sure what to expect with this one specific component from the game, simply because initially, you know, when the Kickstarter was ongoing, I was like, maybe this is going to be built out of similar materials such as these trays, perhaps, so it's going to be a little bit soft and squishy and, you know, perhaps not quite as sturdy, but this is just hard plastic. Like this is solid. It's you're not going to be able to bend it or wobble it quite a bit. It's as sturdy as you can expect it to be, just given the fact that it is plastic. So again, I like it. It's everything in here so far has impressed me quite a bit. And then we have the miniatures on this side, so we'll remove these out just so it's easier to bring these out as well. So as you can see, it's not one insert per se for the whole thing, but there are two different sections to it. You have this one here and then this one here. Open this one up. All right. So, big guy right here. And this feels solid. Like this is level of detail on this is good. I'm not going to say this is great. I've definitely seen minis that have more finer details on each and every single aspect of the mini itself, but it's quite good for what it is. It feels good in your hand, and it looks good overall. Quality of the minis is definitely not in question. And then you have the bust for the character. So you have the main character itself and then a short bust for the character. So I'm assuming that this is probably going to be on the board somewhere for you to, you know, as a means of keeping track with what this guy is doing. And then these are the upgraded tokens. So as you can see, yeah, they feel like fairly small poker chip style components, but not as heavy as that. But again, it feels really good. Definitely better than the cardboard pieces for sure. And then you have the other mini, and one of these might be from the expansion, if I'm not mistaken, but we'll come to that when we come to that. So each of these minis seem to have their own version of the bust, as well as the big guy. So I'm quickly going to run through these. Yeah, so this one definitely seems to have a little bit more detail ongoing, but it could also be just simply because of the fact that it's slightly smaller than the earlier one we had a look at. Yeah, very nice production quality. don't know what marker this is, but this does not feel like plastic. This might just be metal, I think. Yeah. Metal shield-like thing. Another miniature. Oops. And I think this is perhaps the round marker, if I'm not mistaken. It's almost like a speedboat, as it were. Yeah. Excellent. So that's pretty much everything that's in the box for the base game. So let's move this to the side and we'll bring over the expansion pack and have a look at that very quickly. All right, folks, so here we have the box for the expansion, Angler's Cove. Plays up to five with an additional character and an all-new island board. So adds both a player to the overall player count and adds a player board as well. So let's open it up and see what's inside. Again, if you've just sort of gone through looking at the base box with me, this will feel fairly familiar. You have the character artwork, blue aesthetic still ongoing. And in we go. Right, so opening up the box. So you have a cardboard punch out as well. One more standee for the new character, more resources. Fairly similar quality. I'm not going to go through all of these, but these are pretty consistent with what we saw in the base game. So this is the location board, Angler's Cove, single-sided. Rule book for the expansion. Components, how to set up that specific player board, 5-player rules. And then the content we saw with the almanac as well, except it's repeated here. For the new cards, I assume we'll have. This again is the character board. Same quality, similar fit and finish as what we saw earlier on. And the insert, of course, now feels a little bit more what you would expect with a regular retail version of the game. We don't have the mini for this one in here. That's because the miniature for this character was in the deluxe box itself, so it's not separately out in here. If you're picking this up, it can be picked up in the retail. You will get your standard retail components with the standees and so on. But if you have the deluxe box and you're picking this up, you should know that the deluxe components you need for the 5th player is already in the deluxe box, so something for you to keep in mind. So we have dice in here. We had a look at this. We're not going to open this up again. Character specific cards. Again, I expect this to be pretty similar. In fact, you know what? Let's just maybe have a look at this one very quickly. The others will run through. Yeah, so it seems to be the same stock and finish. You have your challenge cards. Outcast challenge cards, so that's new. I don't remember seeing the word outcast on the challenge cards there. You have your stunt cards, the character specific cards, and again the stock quality of the card itself still pretty good. What we saw earlier on, your resource cards with the market cards that we had to look at earlier on. More of these. I'm not exactly sure what these are, but there we have it. One more player aid, and there seems to be something else in here, so please open up and see what's inside. So we have one player aid, and we have 2 more monsters, if I can call it that, in here as well. And then some more dice. So there we go, that's pretty much what's in the box for this one. And we had a look at what's in the box for the base game as well. So let's come back to the table, and I'll just quickly share my final thoughts on what I thought about the production quality of the game so far. All right, So that was the unboxing for Tidal Blades Heroes of the Reef Deluxe Edition Part 1. We want to make sure that we call that out because it's in there. And the expansion Angler Scope for the game as well. Quite a bit to unpack here. So I'm just going to keep it, I'll try to keep it brief with just a couple of quick comments on the production quality. So as you would have heard me mention more than once as I was going through the unboxing itself, the production quality is just A grade. I like everything that I've seen so far. I do not really have any complaints with anything that I've seen. The expansion is something that's available in the retail version, so you don't really have the same insert and whatnot, but the quality is what you would expect from something of that sort. And then of course with the deluxe edition on this one, it just hits it right out the park. It's starting everything from the miniatures to the tokens, the resource tokens, the dice tray, the insert. Just lovely production all around. I loved it. Now, obviously, as I mentioned at the start of the video, the delivery for this, or the fulfillment for this, was delayed quite a bit, by over a year. So there were definitely quite a few backers who were initially fairly upset with the fulfillment on it. There was a period where there wasn't enough sufficient communication coming out from the publishers. So there was a bit of concern around that, but obviously they took control of that matter. There was a lot more concerted effort to make up for a lot of that. And there was a lot more transparency coming around near the end as well, with some like the production issues or the challenges that were faced. And then of course, the whole COVID pandemic hit, and then everybody, all of us sort of like went through that and are still going through that at this moment. So all that said, if the delay is what had to have happened for us to get a game of this production quality at the end of the day, and if this is not what we would have had we received it earlier, then I'm more than okay with the delay at the end of the day. I definitely like things that I've seen coming out of this production house. Like I said, I have a copy of Grimm's Forest on my shelf. Love the production quality on it. Love the artwork on it, which is why when this sort of like came up, I was very excited to see what they would have for us gamers, and I'm very happy with what I've seen so far. I cannot wait to try the game out, learn the rules, put it to the table, and see sort of how the game works. I'll also call out one other thing that I had mentioned earlier that I would quickly cover, and that is how this was boxed in. Again, this perhaps does not necessarily have as much to do with the publisher as it does with the. I believe this was fulfilled by. I don't want to misspeak in case I'm mistaken, so I'm not going to give out the name that I think it was. But whoever this was, you can definitely check it out online. The way that this was boxed in, again, absolutely appreciate the effort to make sure that all the edges were covered with cardboard. I've received quite a few sort of like Kickstarter fulfilled titles in recent days, recent years. Some of them seem to just be thrown in the box and it's there. Others seem to have a lot more effort taken into making sure that the box gets to you as safely as possible. This one definitely seems to have made that effort, and I just want to call it out. The fact that it's appreciated, it's noticed, and I hope more publishers, more fulfillment houses take the same effort to do that as well. So, with that said, I'm excited to try it out. If you have a copy of this coming your way, I can promise you that you will definitely have some wonderful components to look forward to, if not a wonderful game as well, which I hope that it is. And that's it for this one. Thanks for watching. Again, as always, if you have any thoughts, comments, suggestions, please leave them down below, and I'll see you at the next one. Take care.